By the time I moved out and lived with my husband, I really had no financial knowledge. And that's a whopping $2. I have an extremely large turtle figurine collection. That was kind of a big detour, and I really regret doing it. Last time I checked my bank balance, it was about... Hi, my name is Jennifer Johnson. I am a personal trainer, private business owner. Do you have any assets that you owe money on? Yes, I am divorced, but my name is still on the house that I formerly lived at. It is being paid off, but it's being paid off primarily by my ex. So that is the only asset I have left remaining. He's always paid the mortgage, so I don't even know what's left on it. Maybe about 10 grand. Do you have a rent or mortgage? Right now I have a rent on both my business and the apartment that I'm renting. It is $735 a month for my business, and it is $555 for my residence, and I am sharing that with my live-in boyfriend. Do you have a budget? No, I do not have a formal budget. I try to be very careful with what I spend. If it's something that's an absolute necessity, yes. If it's groceries, yes. Beyond that, I kind of try to be strict about what I spend my money on. It's got to be something really worthwhile. What is your guilty pleasure when it comes to spending? I would say books. I love books. I love crystals. I love t-shirts. I have a lot of guilty pleasures. And I have an extremely large turtle figurine collection. Do you have an emergency fund? Sometimes. I try to save up a little emergency cash whenever I can. It's usually only a couple $100s to cover minor emergencies, but I do not have a major emergency fund. How much do you have in your savings account? Last time I checked my bank balance, it was about $5. I have mainly my checking account, which is the one I use the most often. And honestly, I do not think I have ever used my savings account. How much do you have towards retirement? At the moment, nothing. However, I do have an IRA account set up at the moment that I'm expecting to get my divorce settlement put into, which will be about 200 grand. And I make approximately 18 to 20,000 a year. Jen's monthly income is about 1,000 to 1,100. Because it varies a lot when you're a personal trainer with your own business. Rent and mortgage. No mortgage, but I do pay rent on the gym, and I do pay rent, part of the rent on my apartment, and the total on that is $1,290 for both every month. Groceries per month, I would say I spend about $400. My boyfriend and I go big grocery shopping twice a month, but I usually end up going out and buying stuff either for myself or stuff we need for the apartment. So I would say roughly $100 a week, so that makes it $400 a month. Gas. I started putting premium in my Jeep. I'm not very happy, but I'm trying to clean off my oxygen sensor. Probably spend about $250 a month in gas now. Medical, the only thing I pay right now is for my prescription every month, and that's a whopping $2. Clothing, as you can see, I'm not a big fashionista. With clothing, maybe $25 a month. Subscriptions, I do know that I have Amazon Music Unlimited, and that is $9.99 a month. Totally worth it too. Debt repayment, honestly, I have none. I have no credit card debt. I'm not paying on my mortgage, so I really have nothing at this point. Savings, right now I have about $200 in cash. Not in a savings account. It's not in a bank or anything. I just have it for my car and also for insurance on the gym. It comes out to $192 a month. Investments, right now, none, but I am hoping that is going to change when I get my divorce settlement in my IRA. Discretionary per month, I would say $150. And that includes things like if I go to a festival during the summer, if I go to a concert, if I eat lunch out somewhere, that will probably cover it for the month. I try not to, I'm a homebody. I like to stay home and just kind of watch TV and hang out with my dog. Wait a minute, that can't be right. If I'm spending $1,290 a month on mortgage and I'm only making, it's got to be more than that. The thing is, that's not always what I make every month. Sometimes I make more than that, sometimes I make less than that. So it's kind of hard to tell. And I'll have something saved up, like residual money from the month before coming in and that I've saved up, and it rolls over into the next month, and then I can pay all my bills with that. So that's usually how it works. It's weird. I wish savings was more. It definitely should be more. I'm going to work on that more. That's going to be one of my goals for the upcoming years. Overall, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing pretty well. My biggest worry as a business owner was whether or not it was going to support me once I was divorced, and so far so good. What is the best piece of financial advice you can give? You do want to think more long term. I think a lot of people spend very impulsively, which is fine in some situations. You have to have your discretionary income, but I think you really need to look at the big picture as far as retirement or just long-term goals as far as getting a house, getting a car, if you're going to have a child. A lot of those things you really are not prepared for, and nobody's ever 100% prepared, but if you can get your finances in order, that's going to be a huge help. What is the best piece of financial advice you were given? Keep track of your bank account. I remember bouncing checks for just stupid stuff when I first met my ex-husband, and I really had to learn to tighten things down, and I had to learn to not have him keep bailing me out of things. And honestly, it was a huge help. I can't remember the last time I bounced a check, and it's one of those things that I avoid like the plague now. What is the hardest part about managing your finances? We can just buy things at the click of a button, and you can go on Amazon and buy whatever you need. You can go on Walmart and buy whatever you need. So I think the hardest thing is that we're just surrounded by that whole advertising thing and people just wanting you to spend. And it's hard for everybody. I think not just for me, because I have my weak moments, but I think it's just something that's really pervaded our society nowadays. And when it's in your face all the time, then it's really hard to manage your finances. How do you define rich? I define rich as being able to afford everything that you need. Having the basics covered so that you're not always thinking about survival, that you've got affordable housing, that you've got food in the cupboard in the fridge, you're able to take care of your health, either routine or in an emergency. I think if you just have those bases covered, then it takes a lot of that stress away and you're free to do other things in your life that you actually really enjoy. And I think that's in very short supply nowadays. Do you think anyone can get rich? As far as money, I suppose anybody could, but I think there's a lot of luck involved and or having a great deal of financial backing right from the beginning. There are people that have come from nothing who have gotten rich. There are people who have had investors who have gotten rich. Could anyone? Yes. But as far as being rich in the sense of being able to do things you enjoy and not having to worry about any of the basics for survival, I think that is becoming more and more difficult nowadays. What was your worst money decision? Going to culinary school. This was a long time ago, and it ended up costing me quite a bit that I don't know if it was actually worth it or not. That was kind of a big detour, and I really regret doing it. Why did you want to come on the show? I came from a household with a single divorced mom, and by the time I moved out and lived with my husband, I really had no financial knowledge. I think that the more we know from more different sources, the better. We can pick little bits of information from a bunch of different places and figure out what works best for us, because everybody's unique and they have their own type of situation. So I think by participating in this as a small business owner, I think it's just one of many unique perspectives on how we can stop being afraid of money and to better manage our money.